Another issue that is occupying the minds of a lot of people on Capitol Hill, coastal states and members who represent them, they are pushing back hard against the Trump administration after its decision to exempt Florida and only Florida from expanded offshore oil and gas drilling. Governors from both parties are demanding that they too be exempt. Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke says Florida gets a pass because its Republican governor is straightforward and trustworthy, and its coastlines are unique. Well, joining me now is Republican Congressman Brian Mast of Florida. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Happy to join you.
So you are very clear in your condemnation of this blanket decision to allow offshore drilling along the coast, including Florida. That decision was reversed, but just for your state, as we just noticed. Do you think the federal government should do the same for other coastal states that, like you and Floridians, want to make sure that there is no drilling?
I think if those other states want to see that sort of moratorium off their coasts like we in Florida are going to see, then they need to go make sure they have that same bipartisan, unanimous voice effort that we just had in Florida. I've been talking to Secretary Zinke about this for months. I've been working across the aisle with people literally for the entire year on extending this moratorium. So we've been at it for a long time. This isn't something that just came up.
Well, a lot of them have been at it for a long time, too. States with Republican governors and Democratic they've been doing it as well. And to that point, one governor, the governor of Oregon, who is a Democrat, said that this is really just about a political move to satisfy Governor Scott. Let's listen to what Kate Brown said.
What can I think otherwise? Is it about the governor wanting to run for the U.S. Senate? Or is it about President Trump wanting to protect Mar-a-Lago? I don't know the answer to that because Secretary Zinke hasn't returned our calls.
So she's making calls. Other states where there's bipartisan representation, they're making calls. They put in this effort that you say was so key in your state. How is she wrong that this is anything other than a political move?
Well, I think you can say it's political for anybody to go out there and try to make the conversation that it is political. They're playing politics, in and of themselves and having the conversation. The one thing that you can see very, very clearly about Governor Scott is that he has taken a stand on what he believes for offshore drilling off the coast of Florida. I think you'd be right to ask him and where he would extend that same courtesy to other states. That's a fair question, but he has been clear in that he will stand for the borders of Florida, the state of Florida, and not having drilling off our coast. And that's something that should not be taken lightly and should be applauded.
So you think she's making a political fight out of this, and it shouldn't be considered political, even though you could look at Rick Scott, say this is someone who's been very friendly to President Trump. Even some of the other states where Republican governors, yes, they're in the GOP, but they haven't been as friendly to President Trump, aren't getting the same treatment. You don't think she's being fair?
Oh, I'm just saying that it's absolutely political to have that debate. When they're going out there and saying this is all political, the reason that governor came out and said this, look, he made a stand. He made a very strong stand that he's going to carry with him for the rest of his time, that he gets to be a part of doing legislation or being the governor or anything else that he's doing that's affecting the state of Florida. He made that stand, and I believe he's going to stand by it. That's a positive thing. Of course, it's politics. It's political for somebody to go out there and argue that he only did this for one reason or another. Let's be completely honest. Anything and everything that we say within these walls or within the state houses of Florida or the governor's office of Florida or anywhere else, everybody always looks at it as political. That is the reality of the world that we live in.
But what makes Florida unique to, say, Georgia or to South Carolina or to Massachusetts or to Oregon?
The way that we go out there and fight, the way that we've gone out there and had that fight, and when the battle was laid before us, the way that we stepped up in that fight. That's the difference. Now, when other states have that battle laid before them, they should go out there and try to replicate the way that we did this in a bipartisan manner throughout the state of Florida, and hopefully that they will be successful in their fight as well.
So you're saying that they're not fighting the way Florida has, and that's why they haven't been able to be successful the way Florida has?
I can't point to every individual state and what their governors have gone out there and said. I pay attention to the state of Florida, but I can tell you that the way that every representative in Florida stepped up, like I said, in that bipartisan fashion, not just when this came up just now. I'd had conversations with Secretary Zinke about this for months. I talked about it to him in person right after we had our hurricanes down there. I was down at a place called Flamingo with him at the southern tip of Florida. We very specifically talked about this issue. I know Senator Rubio has spoken to him about this issue. We have been beating the drum on this for a long, long time. I don't know how all the other governors have gone out there and done it, but I can tell you how we've done it, and it's been endless.